Hi guys, so in this video we're actually going to be going to the Ghibli Museum, which is of course the Studio Ghibli, the famous animation studio here in Japan that has created the works of Hayao Miyazaki as well as several other filmmakers from the studio. It's sort of an interesting establishment because it's almost more like an art installation than it really is a museum. But it's amazing, and I'm particularly myself, I'm very attached to the Ghibli films. I associate them a lot with my childhood, so I can't wait to check it out, and let's have fun.
The Ghibli Museum is located in Mitaka and can be reached either from Mitaka Station or Kichijoji Station. From Mitaka Station, there is a bus which travels from the station to the Ghibli Museum, but walking either from Mitaka Station or Kichijoji Station is only a short 17-minute walk. Tickets for the Ghibli Museum cannot be purchased at the museum itself, and you actually have to purchase them ahead of time, either at a Lawson's convenience store or through a travel agent before you arrive in Japan. After spotting Totoro right at the entrance, I ended up having to wait about an hour before I could get in, because as was my wont for most of this trip to Japan, I had a tendency of arriving far too early for things. But this afforded me the opportunity to walk around the museum, get some sights, like the cafe, where I hope to have a good meal later. I could enjoy the architecture, which looked like it had been ripped directly from a Ghibli film. And I even spotted the robot from the Castle in the Sky film. I then walked in amazement at the very large bike park the Ghibli Museum had outside. And okay, I arrived way too early. There was no reason for me to do so, and there was nothing for me to do. Other than maybe entertain stupid thoughts like, could I jump the fence and get in early? But obviously, I did not do that. And then I noticed a line starting to form, so I hopped in the line and then was incredibly grateful when I was actually located in the shade, because it was such a hot day. Then the line started moving, and I was afraid I was going to be in the sun, but thankfully, the Ghibli staff had thought about this and put us under awnings. And then finally, they actually opened and I got to go inside. It's important to note that all the indoor sections of the museum, which feature things such as storyboards and even a small theater which shows you a short film, you are not allowed to film or take any pictures. However, all the outside sections of the museum, you can take as many pictures and videos as you would like. As small as the museum is, it really does capture the Ghibli films, and you feel like you're almost walking around in one of the films yourself. It's a place you can explore and find little hidden details. The creativity and detail of the museum really invokes the Ghibli films, which is why you'll probably find a lot of people walking around with a stupid look on their face, just like this. After about an hour in the museum, I was getting a little hungry, so I headed over to the Straw Hat Cafe. Sure enough, a line had already formed, but I still ended up being part of the second group to go into the cafe. They'll actually give you a menu while you're waiting in line, and you'll even be able to place your order ahead of time before you even sit down inside. Maybe you'll even catch an unfortunate typo like I did. The menu seems to pull a lot from Ghibli films, either referencing some of the Ghibli movies or even being pulled straight from the film. Price-wise, it didn't seem that bad either, and it did seem that the menu did change, seeing as how there were so many things that were labeled new. While putting together my meal, there was something that caught my eye. A real ale from Karazawa, Japan. I instantly decided I had to have this because it's a real ale. Apparently, I had only ever had fake ale. Joking aside, real ale is a type of ale which is stored in a cask as opposed to a keg, and rather than coming through a tap with CO2, actually needs to be hand pumped. Just like the indoor sections of the museum, you're not allowed to take any video or pictures of the inside of the cafe. You are, however, allowed to take pictures of your food. Here is my real ale, which after being hand pumped actually had a nice effect, almost like a Guinness, where it started out as a paler color and then slowly got darker as it settled. It was nice and smooth, very easy to drink, and actually had a nice creamy aftertaste to it. For my main dish, I went with their Air Pirate Minestrone, which though small was still very hearty. If I had any complaint, it was that there wasn't quite enough meat in it. But even with that being the case, it was still delicious, and I made sure to soak up every last bit of the soup with the bread. To finish off my meal, I had the crispy, crunchy cream cheese pie, which as the name implies, was crispy, crunchy, and cream cheesy. It was a perfect end to my meal, and I actually walked away not paying that much, about 2,300 yen. Now, the wait to get into the cafe can be a really long time. But good news is that they do have other options, a small counter which serves things such as ice cream and hot dogs for those that are just looking to get a quick snack if you don't want to wait in line.
I think now, after going through the Ghibli Museum, I totally understand why there's no pictures allowed inside. It's something that kind of has to be experienced, I think, more than anything. I think if you're a fan of Ghibli films, or especially if you grew up on them like I did, there's really a sense of wonder when you're walking around there. It's a great place for young kids to go. There's all kinds of little things to do and interesting things to see, and if you're an adult, it's gonna really bring back your childhood. All I can say is, believe me guys, if you have any interest whatsoever, you have to come and check out the Ghibli Museum. Like I said, it's almost more like an art setup, but you still get the same stuff. Inside you can see, storyboard shots of them, the progression, various, certain aesthetics to the films. It's really quite an amazing experience, and you can tell just by watching, kids running around having a great time, or even the older people walking around with just this sense of, childlike wonderment. I really can't recommend it enough. So that's it for this video, guys. If you'd like to give it a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.